if only I didn't have that belly roll, or if only, my hair was like this. Just tearing yourself apart when like my kids would look at that picture and be like, that's my mom.
The most expensive cost you will ever have is distraction.
Just preach. Just preach. Take us to church. I love that so much.
Wealth requires focus.
How do I get more leads?
How do I stand out in my market?
Is it unprofessional to talk about my kids on Instagram?
Should I have one account or two?
Do I really need a personal brand as a real estate agent?
We are the Modern Agent Marketing Girls. We are two agents turned marketing experts who believe you can become the go-to real estate girl in your market, all because you are you. I'm Chelsea Peterson, founder and CEO of Modern Agent Social Club.
And I'm Kayla Fox, Modern Agent's content creator. Let us be your guide as we talk about what it means to market your real estate business the modern way.
So refill your favorite beverage, open your notes app, and get ready to build a business and a brand you're obsessed with. Let's go. Good morning, marketing girls. And good morning, Kayla.
And good morning, Chelsea. It's another episode of the Modern Agent Marketing Girls podcast. This is going to be a good one. Should we tell them what we have in store for them?
Yeah, this is something new. We are doing a series. So we talk about series style content all the time. And we thought, why don't we make our own series on the podcast? So we are doing a series called The Wealthy Agent Upgrade. And this is about how your next level is going to require a new identity. So we're going to have a series of episodes where we're diving into different topics, different standards to essentially upgrade yourself to.
Yeah, exactly. We've had so many conversations lately with agents through trainings and Camp Modern Agent and all of those things where we talk about like, okay, this is like the vision that we have for you. This is what we feel like is possible for you. And our goal is to make you sit up a little straighter and feel like, you know what, I could do that, or I can rise to that, and I can be that, and I have that within me. And that's what we want this whole series to be about.
We see a lot of objections and just mindset hurdles that agents have. And our goal is to help you just get past those, because a lot of what's holding you back can be pretty easily eliminated, but it all is rooted in some of these standards we're going to unpack in the next few episodes. So if you truly want to unlock that next level or phase of your business and your brand, you're going to want to listen to all of these episodes. So if you only listen to us once in a while, mark your calendar, tune in every Tuesday for the next several weeks and dig in. Like, take notes, listen twice, write things down. Like, this is the time to go all in. Even if you're listening in the car, maybe go home, pop in an AirPod, listen again. You're going to want everything we're about to say, no matter where you are in your business, honestly. If you've ever thought, I wish I could just be a little more organized, or I wish I could be more confident, or I wish I had more like, if you have a business, you are never done with growth. It never ends. There is no finish line. There is no, okay, I'm good now. The second you think that, the second you start to decline. So even for the agents who have been in the business, I don't care if it's been 20 years or 2 years, these episodes are going to help you just upgrade yourself in general. So I'm so excited.
I am too. Before we start, I need to talk about something that I purchased in January that has changed my life. And that is the brick. Have you seen these? Do you have one yet? The brick.
I'm convinced some of the biggest creators, I'm using like quotation marks, invested in this, because it is one of those products that is just absolutely blowing up. I do think it will hit it's at its peak. It's going to go down, but I wish I invested in stock if there is any.
Right. Well, I admit when I first heard about what a brick was, I thought, do people have no self-control? Like, literally, it's designed just for you to lock yourself out of apps at certain times of the day for, specific days or for every day or whatever, so that they always say, like, just get back to living. And I heard about this and I thought, okay, like, this is another, they're like $50. It's not like they're that expensive, but I just thought, like, okay, practice a little self-control, people, and you'll be fine. However, I found myself continually again and again and again not practicing that self-control. And I would end up, you get that screen time report like every Sunday, and I would be like embarrassed at how much time I was actually spending on Instagram, even though, yes, a lot of times it was for work or whatever. Like, it was too much time. So I got one and I set it up so that from I think it's 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., I'm completely locked out of all social media. And then again at 3 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Because I was like, that's when my kids are home. That's when I'm going to focus on them. And it is kind of changing my life. It has given me like, it has allowed me to see that I have so much more time for things that I always said I don't have time for. Even, like, fun things, like how I talked about how I've started watercolor and whatnot. But when I am on the apps, like when I am on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever, I'm using that time so much more intentionally. So I haven't set up a whole lot for like weekend stuff yet. Weekend, I'm kind of like, oh, whatever. But like during the week, I have been like locked in, focused. I've gotten so much work done. It's been fantastic.
I don't know about you, but when I do just doom scroll for too much, and I don't even know why I know why it's called doom scrolling. This is exactly why what I'm about to say. I kind of feel like depressed. Like
Yeah.
I don't leave. I think you get on there and it's like a high. It's like this, like our brains are being wired to look at this as like one of those, like when the mouse hits the thing, it gets a treat. Like that's social media or checking your email or whatever. But I feel like when I'm get off of it, it doesn't spark creativity. It doesn't boost my energy. It doesn't motivate me. And I'm not even someone who's like deep comparing myself. I'm just like, oh, I should do that, or I should listen to that podcast, or I should probably write that email because like now I saw this other person wrote an email, or I should really organize my closet, or maybe I should take my kid to the park, or maybe like you almost leave feeling if you're just scrolling for fun and not for intentionality, you leave feeling like I have a lot to do. And I don't like that feeling. It's like a pressure. It's not like now if I go on there and I'm like, I'm going to spend 10 minutes looking for hooks. I will leave 10 minutes later and I'll have 50 hooks. And that's great. That's how I want to spend my time on social media. So you may be convincing me to try the brick thing.
Well, exactly. And that's just it. It is a matter of like being more intentional and like when you doom scroll like that, you find yourself not only wasting time, but you walk away less content. Like you start comparing your home and your style and your marriage and all of these things, even like your content against everybody else that you're seeing, who, by the way, also do that same thing, right? None of them are like, yep, I have it together and everyone's just jealous of me. We're all on that same path together. And so when you spend less time consuming that content and you spend more time doing the things that actually move the needle in your business, you don't struggle with like, oh, I don't have enough. You don't look around your house and think like, oh, if I only had this, then I could. Like, you just see things in a completely different light. So strongly encourage it. However, this is not a brick ad. They haven't decided to pay me yet for talking about them. Maybe that day will come. But the reason that I bring this up is because we live in a world where there's so much opportunity to be distracted from doing what matters. And it's killing ourselves, it's killing our spirit, it's killing our ability to hit our goals and our business and all of the things. And if we really want to unlock this like new level of like becoming a wealthy agent and like really upgrade our mental software and our actions and all of those things, the practices in our business, we have to cut out distractions.
My goal is really for these standards we're going to dig into over the next several weeks to just become your normal. Like, I don't want them to become something that you have to like think about or remember or write down. Maybe you write some down, but I want them to just become your normal. When they become your normal, it becomes a habit, then your life just starts operating like the person you want to be, like the business you want to have. Your business truly is going to grow in proportion to the agent, the woman, the person that you become. So if you're in a place where you feel like you're lacking growth or you want to grow or why aren't I growing? Chances are it's not necessarily a marketing problem or a consistency problem or any of those things. That's part of it and we can unpack that too, but it's probably more along the lines of you have a focus problem. And that is what today is all about.
Yeah, we always say diluted focus gives diluted results. So if you have found yourself saying like, this is just so overwhelming, or this doesn't even work, or, I've tried all the things and nothing's happening, it's probably because you're distracted in some form or another. And so we need to look at what those distractions actually are. We need to look at a healthy way to eliminate them so that we can focus on what actually matters.
What do you think of when you think of the word self-sabotage?
Oh, man. I think of looking at, like, a picture of yourself and thinking, like, "Ugh, if only, like, I didn't have that double chin," or "If only I didn't have that belly roll," or "If only my hair was like this." Like, just tearing yourself apart when, like, for example, like, my kids would look at that picture and be like, "That's my mom." Like, they would be so delighted to see a picture of me.
We so often tie it to physical appearance, but it can really like interfere with so many parts of our lives. And I actually just looked up the definition. It's self-sabotaging behavior refers to actions or thought patterns that consciously or subconsciously interfere with one's long-term goals and overall well-being. So it's like the whole thing of like you wake up, you get in the shower, you look in the mirror like I'm so fat. I'm so fat. I'm so fat. Every single day your brain's telling yourself I'm so fat. Whatever. Or I'm not successful, or I'm never going to be good at this. I'm never going to sell as much real estate as her. I'm never going to be organized. That's self-sabotage. Instead of being able to reframe our brain and think like, okay, this is my goal. So these are the actions I now need to start acting like and implementing so I can become that person. We keep living the same thing. So like you wake up and you say, I'm so fat. Now you go and eat a donut for breakfast. And you're like, well, I already ate the donut. I'm going to eat that. Like it just goes down that rabbit hole, right? So I started reading the book not because of this, but The Mountain is You, and it's transforming self-sabotage into self-mastery. And what it says is that your new life is going to cost you your old one. It's going to cost you your comfort zone and your sense of direction. So no, we're not talking about weight loss or telling yourself the physical attribute part, but we're talking about where you are in your business. And if you're somewhere that you don't want to be or you want it to be elevated or upgraded, then chances are there are going to be some things that need to change. And I highly recommend this book. Not that far, but it's really good. There's so many like quotable moments in it. But yeah, that's what I want to talk about today, I guess. Like not self-sabotage, but how can we reframe this? How can we think differently? And like, what do we need to, I guess, eliminate in our day-to-day lives so that we can be more focused? Because honestly, the most expensive thing in your business, the most expensive cost you will ever have, it's not your real estate dues, it's not your Zillow leads, it's not a membership, it's not coaching. The most expensive thing is distraction. It will cost you more money than anything else because it's going to cost you time, it's going to cost you focus, it's going to cost you like from continuing down the path and sticking with something, right? And you can't build a wealthy business, you can't build a wealthy version of yourself with distracted energy.
Let's just give them some specific examples. So, as we're talking about distractions, what are distractions? Because every one of us is going to wake up sick. Every one of us is going to wake up with kids who, have something show up at school or throw up in the car on the way to whatever. Like some distractions, quote unquote, aren't avoidable, right? What are the things that agents so often get distracted by that they actually could eliminate?
I don't know if this is what's in your head, but mine is like all I think is all the real estate Facebook groups and all the I did this and here's how I get my leads. Tell me if you want to know how, or what's the best pay at, what are these things called? I always get this wrong. Pay at close lead sources, or
Yeah.
what about networking events? Like people are in these Facebook groups and on social media looking for a secret. They're looking for some magic, non existent secret that's going to unlock everything for them, that's going to change their life. And the truth is, there's no secret. There is no magical thing that's being hidden from you, or everyone on this planet would be insanely successful. The truth is that building a successful business, building wealth, and being someone that you feel so confident in, like in your identity, it is hard. It's hard work. And we're all trying to avoid the work, which is why we succumb to all these distractions. So distractions like, where can I pay for the most leads? How can I pay the least for the most? Networking events or throwing client parties, all these marketing tactics like pop buys, like screenshotting every idea you see on Instagram. These are some of the things, right? What else do you have, Kayla?
Yeah, you really think about like if it does not connect to your bottom line, it is a distraction. I think realtor networking events is one of the biggest ones. Now, I realize that there are some agents who live in markets where everyone's moving to, right? But as a whole, like I look at me living in little small town Indiana, not to say I would never get a referral from someone on the other side of the nation through a network marketing event, but I would say that's pretty unlikely. And I think about just the amount of time and effort and energy it would take to go to something, let's say it's in Texas or whatever. That time would be taken away from my family, taken away from my clients, and taken away from, even just like spending my time the way that I want to spend my time, which for me as an agent, what was my bottom line? My bottom line was to sell houses to my sphere so that I could spend more time with my family, spend more time with my husband, spend more time with my kids, all of those things, and like be home. Like that was a big goal of mine. So to me, now again, everyone's a little different, but to me, a network event through real estate agent to real estate agent would never connect to my bottom line. And it would be a giant waste of time.
As you say that, I think about it's not just agents. Agents, this is not like you're in this special bubble and this is only for you. Like anyone that's an entrepreneur in the entire planet has these hurdles. Like I've mentioned before, I am not willing to speak on stages. I don't want to leave my family to travel on a plane for a work event. And even I wouldn't even do it if I was getting paid, most likely. I should say that if I did it, I would be dreading it until that day came because I wouldn't want to travel by myself without my family. I wouldn't want to speak. I just don't want to. It's not my motivation or my goal right now. It doesn't tie to my bottom line. If something I'm putting my time and effort into is taking me away from the whole point of why I built this business, it doesn't make any sense, right? That's why even like going back to, I did pay for Zillow leads my first year as an agent, but I spent so much time chasing people who could care less about me. And then in turn, I missed things with my family. I remember being on vacation crying because of like these emails that were flooding in. And like, I don't know, like I knew that when you are confident in what you want in your life and in the business you want to run day to day, it makes saying no to things and saying yes to things a lot easier and making the distractions become less and less. When it's like, I look around and I'm like, well, these people are traveling to masterminds. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should join one. Maybe it is time for me to do that. Or maybe I should hire a coach. Maybe I should speak on stage. Like, I am so confident in my decision that I'm not leaving my house, essentially, that it's fine. And I've built a very successful business with my boundaries. And I think that's true for everyone because the more you say yes to things that you're like, not really aligned, not really aligned, the more of a chaotic business you're going to live, right? Because you're not going to get really good at one thing and feel like it's a well-oiled machine. It's always going to feel like something new. I remember I was at an insurance conference with my husband once and we met this woman and she was talking about how like, well, I do everything. Like I do commercial insurance, I do personal insurance, I do health insurance, I do life insurance, I do all these things and it's just me. I'm just a solo like insurance agent. And I'm like, I would never trust you to handle my homeowner's insurance because how are you good at all those things? How are you like well informed about all those different kinds of insurance? It's not possible. So that means she's constantly scattered, constantly whatever. She's probably not really good at any of those things. And this is having a niche or not is a conversation for a different day. But the point is, when you spread yourself thin with a bunch of random things, I don't care what it is, pop buys, postcards, posting this, posting that, following 4 different people's social media advice, you're going to be unfocused. And unfocused people don't get wealthy results. They don't get wealthy, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think maybe one way we could like sum it up is by saying if you're using the word should, then there's a good chance it's a distraction. Like if you're saying, oh, I should do this or I should do that. The other thing I thought of is like agents who have successful real estate careers who start spending their time on Instagram teaching other agents. Now, I'm going to point out the irony right here real fast is that's exactly what you and I did, right? But you and I both started doing that because we wanted to get out of real estate and we wanted to teach full time. That was like the goal for it. And that's what makes us, I'm going to toot my own horn here, good teachers because we spend all of our time doing this, right? But we recently saw a post, I don't even remember who the agent was, but there was an agent who said like, oh, I started seeing all of this success and people started telling her, you should teach other agents, or you should sell a course, or you should sell your templates. So then she did those things. And then she said, oh, guess what hurt? My actual business. People stopped reaching out to me. People assumed I was doing more realtor to realtor things than they were whatever, which again, if that is your ultimate goal, then that is exactly what you should do. But for most people listening, that's not their ultimate goal. They want to sell real estate. So we have to stop with I should start selling my templates because I have a really good thing here, or I should start whatever. Like, and then even getting distracted by collecting all of these things. And I'm not telling you never buy another agent's templates. A lot of people probably have really good resources, okay? But what happens is we collect all of this information and we hoard it and we don't implement any of it because it's too much for us to implement because we're already busy with our own thing. And then it feels like this giant thing over our heads. It's like, well, I should do this. And guess what we're not doing? The thing that actually moves the needle in our business.
Okay, I have to say this really quickly. So Yes, I did that exact thing, kind of. But when I decided I want to have a membership for agents, I decided I'm getting out of real estate and I'm going to start a membership for agents. It wasn't like, oh, I happened to have this post go viral. 300 agents commented on it and wanted my link or wanted to know where my outfit was from or wanted to get information. It wasn't accidental. It was extremely intentional. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. So if you are an agent listening who wants to do that, I hope you have a really good why, a really good plan, and go for it. Like
Yeah.
I would never go back. So this quote is from the Mountain Is You book, and I want to read it right now because it's so tied to this. It is very hard to show up as the person you want to be when you're surrounded by an environment that makes you feel like a person you aren't. That is why I decided to do what I'm doing. That is why I left real estate to start Modern Agent, because I knew that sticking in your little bubble in your small town or your big town or your brokerage where they're telling you to cold call and door knock and send postcards and go to these realtor networking events and drop off pop buys. I was like, this isn't it. It's so much easier than all this. It's so much easier. And I want agents to come to this community where they get it. But I was very intentional. I had a plan. I saved up money for 6 months. I stopped taking clients. I did it so intentionally. And I'm only telling you this not to be like, oh my God, I'm so amazing.
Right.
Because if you want anything in life that seems hard, like, do you think that was easy for me to stop selling real estate for 6 months so I could go all in on something that was paying me zero? No. It was like starting real estate all over again. I wasn't married then, nothing. So my point is when you want to do anything, if you want to be really successful as an agent, you want more referrals from your sphere, you want to stop paying for leads, you finally want a plan you feel focused on, you have to put yourself in an environment where you feel that way and let the distractions fall away. Make yourself a plan, be intentional, don't just let things accidentally happen, and like decide, like, this is what I want in the next not only 1 year, but think 10 years. Like, we're playing
Yeah.
way too small, thinking like in a year at a time proportions of time. We need to think like, well, what do I want to be in? Maybe 10's too much for you. What do I want to be in 5 years? Where do I want to be in my business? That is the kind of thinking I did to be able to create a membership that is multiple 7 figures and stop selling real estate. It is not because I just like threw out some templates for sale and did some pop buys over here and did like, you have to get serious about your goals. And I'm saying this because I want all of you to succeed.
Yeah. Just preach. Just preach. Take us to church. I love that so
Wealth
much.
requires focus. That
It
is
does
the
require
bottom
focus.
line.
You know what I always think of when we have conversations about this is, for example, I have been trying hard to lose weight and get in shape for the last like 6 months. And there's so much advice out there, and most of it is good advice, right? If you want to lose weight, you could do any bit of research and you could look into things like counting carbs to increase your protein, count your macros, just take Ozempic, lift weights, like all of the things.
Ask
And
ChatGPT.
ask ChatGPT, it'll tell you all the things. And what happens is if you try to do all of those things, first of all, you're going to eat like nothing. But then it's not going to work. Something's going to backfire. Or if you start doing it over here, but then this thing over here says to do this, and that's actually going to work against each other. And then like you're going to get no results. And instead of looking back at yourself in 3, 4, 5 months and being like, wow, I've done it, you're going to look back and be like, well, that doesn't work for me. Like it doesn't work. Like I tried all the things, and you probably worked harder and not gotten results than you would have if you would have just followed one system, one process, committed to one thing, right? I did this too with like meal plans. I've been trying to like feed my family healthier foods and like more just like less processed stuff, like trying to make things more from scratch at home with, the time that I have. And I was so thankful. I came across this ad on Instagram of this girl who she's like, I have 5 kids and this is how I've done it. And like the foods actually looked like foods my kids would eat. I went through the meal plan and I'm like, okay, that's actually food like my family would eat. Like I'm going to do this. So I spent like $50. I downloaded, it was like 200 recipes. It was insane. I even went as far as to get them printed at a print shop where they actually binded everything, put it on a book. So it's literally a recipe book on my counter. Okay. The morning before I went to go pick those up, I opened up Instagram and I saw another mom saying, I put together all these recipes. And what was my first instinct was to be like, well, I need those recipes. And I almost clicked the link. And then I was like, this is exactly what you tell people not to do. Like we're all like subject to this, right? But if I would have done that, I would have 400 recipes on my counter, and then I would have been too overwhelmed with where do I even start, or what? Or she says to use this yogurt for a substitute, but then she says to use applesauce for a substitute. And then like it would have gotten too confusing. And so I thought, no, I am going to stick to one system. I'm going to make every recipe inside these books. And I'm not going to even think about adding anything else to this or like swapping things out or trying something new until I'm so sick of this and it doesn't work for us anymore. Like we cannot stand the fact of eating this one meal again because we've had it so many times. That is when I'm going to get another one. That's the kind of mentality we need when it comes to anything in our business, whether it's social media advice or marketing advice, but also like the way that you're showing up in email or the lead mag that you have, or even like your routines at home, like all of those things, we have to like stick to one thing, choose who you want to believe. And Chelsea and I will always say, if it's not us, then turn us off. Like if there's a good chance if you're still listening to this episode, it is us. And so we'd love for you to keep listening. But like there's a lot of agents out there or other like leaders who have systems that their people get results. Okay. We're not the only ones, but our way is different. And so you have to find the way that works best for you and your personality and your lifestyle, and then stick to it and cut out all the other noise.
Okay, think of this. Like when you go to put directions in your GPS, you have to put a destination in the GPS, right? You can't just be like, I don't know. It's like, take me, whatever. It literally cannot route you and tell you which direction to go, right? But when you keep changing the destination, it's going to keep recalculating over and over and over. Or if you do put a destination in, it gives you three routes. Like you can take the lake route or you can take the highway or the no tolls, whatever. Like you can't take all three routes. You'll never get where you're trying to go. And that's exactly what Kayla just said is if you don't want to keep rerouting your destination to better results or more clients or more referrals, you have to stick with one destination. You have to stick with one plan, one person, one way of doing something. And you can't worry about like, well, if I go the lake route, is there going to be like, more stoplights, or is there going to be like, you just pick a route and you go and you keep following it until you get to your destination, right? So all these little things that come up and distract us, like I just saw this trend, should I do that? Or I just heard that the algorithm did this, should I start doing this differently? Or my story views are low, what should I do now? Like we've got to cut that stuff out. We've got to just keep going in one direction and long enough to be able to look back and think like, maybe I should have, or maybe I should do this differently. Maybe it's time to stop and get gas. Like maybe it's time to refuel, right? Like rather than like every couple of blocks being like, I think I'm going to go the other way now. You would never arrive, right? So you can look at patterns and you can optimize and you can look at things. But if you are distracted, like first of all, Instagram's goal is to keep you on the app. They don't want you to leave. They want you stuck on there. They don't probably like this whole brick thing. I guarantee they're not maybe they are investors in it and it's like a whole convoluted thing. Who knows? But like they want you on the app. So they want you to keep getting rerouted. They want you to keep seeing new directions and new ideas and new things to screenshot. But they also honestly want you to show up and be consistent. Adam Mosseri actually just said, like, you are not going to be more rewarded on this app because you post every day or 5 times a day. He said, you have to pick something you can be consistent with and sustain. Because what we don't want is you post, 2 times a day for 3 months and then you disappear for 6 months. Like, that's not consistent, right? So you have to pick something that works for you and don't let the noise of what someone else is doing or what works for them. Everyone is doing something totally different at the end of the day. So following someone whose advice, like I followed Jenna Kutcher's advice when I started my membership to a T, like to a T. It worked. I didn't get distracted by random other ideas and thoughts and suggestions and whatever. I followed one person. I liked the way she built her business. It was very built around her life. She didn't succumb to all the like shoulds. Like she had the #1 marketing podcast and didn't do video for her podcast. What is everyone else on the planet doing? Video for their podcast. Like, and yes, you may get more results on YouTube and you may have a higher reach, but it's a lot more work to get a video on YouTube. She focused on good content, good guests, good interviews, and consistency. 2 episodes a week. Like she wasn't worried about trying to keep up with the Joneses of the marketing world, right? She just did what worked and what she could be consistent with. And that's the definition of building wealth and not letting the distractions act as roadblocks for throughout your destination.
when you say that too, when you word it that way about this is how you build wealth with it, it makes me go back to like the whole like abundance mindset versus scarcity mindset. The scarcity mindset is I should do this, I should do that, or oh, I need to do that quick, or I like as if like clients are going to run out or like opportunities are going to run out. There's a quote from that book, Tool of Titans, that says, once you reach a decent level of professional success, a lack of opportunity won't kill you. It's drowning in the that would be kind of cool commitments that will sink the ship. So we have to get really honest with ourselves. And I think honestly, like, I mean, we always like to give a little homework assignment at the end of this. I think like this should be like some deep work this week. It needs to be a matter of like sitting down and being like, what am I doing that's sinking this ship? We have to define our bottom line. Like what is actually what we want more than just more clients? What is the thing that we actually want? And then what are we doing that's sinking the ship that's not allowing us to reach that destination? And some of us probably aren't going to like our answers, but the only way that we can move forward is if we're honest with ourselves.
You know, it's hard because a lot of the things that you have to stick to and follow through with, you're not going to get results the next day or tomorrow, or that's the same thing as the next day or next month or next week or whatever. It is longer term, but wealthy people, wealthy agents think long term. They're not thinking about today. They're not thinking, where could I get my next client? Where could I get my next lead? They're thinking, where can I get my next 30?
Yeah.
And that's how you operate out of intention and focus and not distraction. Because, for example, like, I mean, there's a million things we want to do, right? Like merch keeps popping back up, but I'm like, not right now. Merch isn't going to get us to the next level. It's fun and it's like exciting, and maybe we'll find a way to outsource it and not have it be like a big time consuming thing, but it can't be a focus right now. So there's always going to be a bunch of things in your mind that you're like, I should, whatever. The best thing you can do is to just like write them down and set them aside, but then stay focused on that long-term destination. Like if you had to answer the question of how can I sell 30 houses versus how can I sell one, your answers are going to be so different, right?
Yeah.
And regardless of what direction you're following or what plan you're following to do that, you think differently when you think bigger. You think differently when you think long term. So it's not about being the agent who's doing more things, like having this list of like the insurance agent, right? It's not having this list of like, well, I do commercial and residential, and I do rentals, and I do Zillow leads, and I do this pay at close lead program, and I like that's not it. It's doing less, better, more intentionally, and more focused. So it's not like I even have to cut myself off. Like I'll see, the Instagram suck and I'll see this, oh my gosh, this course looks fun or cool right now. I'm like, no, not right now. Not right now. Like
Yeah.
it is this constant mental reprogramming because our world is distractions, right? Everything we do has distractions planted in it. So it's not like you are this horrible person for being distracted. You have to just learn to program your brain to stop acting out of impulse with it, right? And start acting out of like, I'm going to commit to this plan and I'm going to be intentional with it. That's why our whole strategy, everything we do ties back to building a personal brand. We're not one day teaching you like, Pinterest strategies, and then we're teaching YouTube, and then let's go over here. Like, I don't care what you do, but if it's rooted in building the personal brand and it tracks back to that, go for it. If it's aligned with who you want to become, go for it. If it's aligned with how you're going to sell those 30 houses, go for it.
Yeah, for sure. As you're saying all of that, I'm just thinking about like somebody gets thrown out in the middle of the ocean, right? There's two options here. You can doggy paddle forever until someone comes to save you, or you can swim to shore and like get moving, right? And so agents who are wealth-minded, who are abundance-minded, they're getting to work and they're moving to shore, right? They're not getting distracted by all these little things. But the agents who are playing small and almost like just being in survival mode, all we're doing is doggy paddling and like working. And maybe we're staying up for a while, but we're not making any progress and we're not getting to a place where we can stop doing that. We're not, because when we say wealthy, yes, I mean, gosh, I want all of our listeners to make a ton of money. Like I would love to see like, oh man, I was able to sell this much. I would love, love, love that. But wealth is more than just money, right? Wealth is your time. Wealth is freedom. Wealth is the freedom to spend your mornings how you want and to do the things that you want to do. You can't do that if you're trying to stay up in the middle of the ocean, right? They're not thinking about okay, where do I get my next meal? Like wealthy people and wealthy agents are thinking, how can I feed an entire community? Like their eyes are on a bigger picture all the time. And when you're on that, when you're thinking abundantly and when you're thinking with that mindset, you're not getting distracted by all these things that you should do. You're like, no, this is my goal. And I'm going, it's like that 10x is easier than 2x. I'm just going to focus on this part at the end over here. I'm not going to worry about all these little details over here. And then I'm going to get to where I want to go. And that's what we want. Like, we don't want agents like wearing themselves out, just trying to stay afloat. We want them to get to where they want to go.
Have you ever had a day where you have like 10 places to be and you're like, I'm going to pop in here real quick, and then I have 3 graduation parties, and then I have a dinner, and like every little thing you do, you almost feel like you're just rushing through it, not really thoughtful when you're there. You're like, hi, good to see you. Congratulations. Here's your gift. Okay, we got to go to the next one. Like you're never just like settling into the day or like enjoying your time with people. Like that's how it feels. Like that's what I picture when I picture trying to do all these different things. It's like you're never actually just like settling in long enough to like connect with someone, to actually build a relationship, to actually get that person to want to refer you or hire you or reach out, right? You're like, okay, that one didn't work. That one didn't work. Like you're constantly moving on to the next person over and over and over again. When you have the long-term vision and the long-term plan and focus, you're thinking about every relationship as a future opportunity for a referral, for maybe in 6 years they'll be ready to buy a house, maybe in 7 years, maybe in between now and then they'll refer you 10 people. Like there's so much opportunity we're missing because we're trying to focus on the right now, the instant gratification. Like instant gratification is so much more exhausting than long term. There will be some time before you get to the long-term place that feels hard. Like if you're swimming to shore, it's going to feel hard.
Yeah.
Like that stresses me out to even think about being put in the middle of the ocean. But like it's going to be hard, but if you just dog paddle and then you're like, oh, like a drink, like someone, like I think of the Hunger Games, they dropped down some water for me. Like I'm going to stop. Like it's going to take you so much longer, right? But it's still going to be hard. Like this isn't going to be easy to get to the place in business where you're like, oh, this is what it's all about, right? Especially when the wealth that you're defining is more than just the number in your bank account. It's how you spend your time, how you spend your days. So I even, as like, to not jump ahead of this, but as your homework assignment, write down, what is wealth for me? What does wealth mean to you? Does it mean traveling more with your family? Does it mean having less clients but better? I'm all about that. I remember starting real estate and they would do like the monthly awards, and there would be like who sold the most volume and then who sold the most units. And like the units, I was just like, I don't want to sell 47 houses. I'd rather sell the most volume. Like, I don't want the reward for the most units, right? Like that's so much more effort. So it's just, I don't know, I'm just rambling, but like thinking about what does wealth mean to you and how can you build out that, whatever your goal is for the year or whatever your goal is for 5 years, how can you build out that plan that aligns with that? So again, when you think I should, but it's like, well, that's going to take me away more, or that's going to mean less time on the weekend, or that's going to mean I'm gone every weekend, or whatever it is, like, does it align with the wealth you're trying to build as a person, as a family, as someone in your community? Like, do you have time to be forward facing at community events? I think of like, also there's a million ways you can do marketing, right? And I see a lot of people who will do like, oh, I'm doing this booth at this wedding expo, and I'm doing a booth at my kid's school, and I'm like, what should I bring and how could I stand out? And again, going back to that question of like, should you do this or does it contribute to your bottom line? Here's a question, Kayla, and I would tell you to ask yourself. Does this align with your personal brand? Like if you have mom life as a part of your brand and you connect with tons of other local moms and you're volunteering at the baseball game and you're volunteering at the chili cook-off downtown and you are sponsoring your kids team and you're going to the school, then doing a booth at a school totally makes sense. Doing a booth at a wedding expo makes 0 sense, right? So like that's one really easy way to define like what makes sense for me. What do I spend my time on? Or maybe you're someone who doesn't have kids yet. You were in a sorority and you used to be in events and planning. Okay, a wedding expo makes total sense for you. You can talk to these people, you can relate, you can build rapport. Maybe you just got married. Like, then that could be kind of cool, right? I don't really want to spend my time at a booth at an expo, but if that's something that aligns that you can then bring onto social media, you can talk about it, you can meet people, have conversations, build relationships that turn into opportunities, then it makes sense. But a lot of things we're doing are fluffy, they're extra, they don't make any sense. Like, every shiny thing and idea, whether it's a postcard, a pop by, a flyer, a client event, potentially, it resets your momentum. Because everything you're doing, if it doesn't align in that same track that gets you closer to the destination you're trying to get to, it offsets you. It takes you on a detour. It reroutes, right? And when you think of it like that, when you think of it like, okay, really want to do this thing. I don't know if it'll really do anything, but I feel like I need to get in front of more people. I want you to think instead of like, I should, or maybe I want you to think like, okay, this might reset my momentum.
You know, all of those things, like even thinking about like, oh, I need to go to this event, or I need to host this many times a week, or I need to like do all of these things, like all of these, like I should do this, should do that, should do that. We make ourselves really busy with things that don't matter. And it reminded me of this quote that says, being busy is a form, are you ready for it? Being busy is a form of laziness, lazy thinking, and indiscriminate action. Being busy is most often used as a guise for avoiding the few critically important but uncomfortable actions. So I think that's exactly what you're talking about. We busy ourselves with like setting up a new system, or if I just had this CRM platform, or if I just had this scheduling app, but if I also had like, if I connected it here, and if I'm able to like figure out a way to like turn this into whatever, like I'm all about making things seamless and easy in the back end. I'm all about a good template and all of those things, but we we dilly-dally so much with the things that aren't actually going to touch the bottom line, and that aren't actually, it's kind of like we use that example in camp of like, we spend so much time rearranging the logs on the fire, but we never light it. We never like add that spark. Guess what? People are going to leave the campfire circle. They're going to be like, I'm chilly. There's no fire. I'm out of here. But if you can just get that spark going and then like let the logs alone for a little bit, and then of course you're going to need to reassess them to keep things going, of course. But like, we spend so much time tending to these logs that aren't going to create this warm environment if we don't ever start the dang fire.
I love that analogy so much. I love camp.
I love
Okay.
camp.
I have a busy quote too, which is really similar, but it's really short. So I want to read it because I like the one word it has at the end. So it says, being busy is the ultimate way to distract ourselves from what's really wrong.
Yeah.
What is wrong? So this is why I like it. So going back to, all the ideas that are out there of like events and networking and all these things I could do, what's wrong likely is you're not getting consistent business, or I want more referrals and I don't want to pay for the cold leads, or like whatever, you define what's wrong. And then when that thing comes up to like, I'm going to do this event and I'm going to have a booth, or I'm going to volunteer here or whatever, ask yourself, does that solve the problem of what's wrong? Will this solve the problem of what's wrong? Is it something you can keep doing? Like, I think of, sponsoring a baseball team, that's your kid's baseball team. I think that could make a lot of sense for someone with a mom real estate brand, right? That makes a lot of sense. If you don't have any kids in baseball and you're just sponsoring the team, probably not. Like, that's probably not going to get you to 10x your referrals, right? If we can always be thinking that way and attaching like, will this idea or this shiny thing or this action solve the problem of what's wrong? If the answer is, I don't know, probably not, then maybe we forget it and we keep doing the bigger things that will. Like that 10x is easier than 2x book. Everyone should read it. It makes so much sense. And it really gives you a permission slip to stop doing all the other things, because it makes you realize how thin you are spreading yourself, right? Like, you can't do a million things well. Diluted focus equals diluted results, all those quotes. But it gives you that like permission slip to go all in on something that will pay off.
Yeah. It tells you basically stop playing small and start playing the long game, which is where the big results are. That's where the life is that most of us want to leave, right? Like most of us would picture a future for ourselves where it's like, man, if I could have a home that like could fit my family in, or if I could spend my days, traveling here and doing this, or not worrying about this and passing down wealth. Like if I could pay for my, oh my gosh, if I could pay for my grandchildren's college education, like what a win, right? But we're playing too small and we're just thinking about, well, how can I sell a house this month so that I can afford, new signs or new business cards or what and it's like it's again, it's dilly-dallying and it is tinkering. It's just playing small and we have to stop getting distracted. And all of those things, it's not like we're stupid. Everything is packaged in this shiny, beautiful, like, oh, I did this and I got all of these results. It's not like we're not purposely saying like, oh, they got one more client every 5 years because they did this one thing. Sign me up. Like everyone is promising this like future that, again, it doesn't mean that they're lying. It doesn't mean that they're not being honest, but how many routes are we taking to get to where we want to go? And then we end up in the middle of the woods without a compass, without knowing how to get out of there. And then we think everyone else just doesn't know what they're talking about. Or you start to believe that you're actually just not cut out for it. When the bottom line is like you weren't playing the game according to the rules. Like you were going off and doing your own thing. And it's not, you don't get results that way. So we need to really think about that and how the way that we spend our time every single day, like going back to like the brick, doing like a quick time audit on yourself and thinking about like how much time am I actually spending trying to, put together postcards or put together pop buys. And again, not that you should never do those things, but overall, those methods are playing small and we want you to like think bigger.
I see posts like this a lot, but I saw a post from an agent who said, like, I'm posting one reel and one carousel every day and I'm still not getting conversions. Can you like give me feedback? I like briefly glanced at her profile, but I don't even need to tell you what her profile looked like because here's the problem. Someone along the way made her think that posting twice a day would get her conversions when posting content goes so much deeper than just checking a box to post the content, right?
Yeah.
So this is like one example of like someone in some membership or course told me if I post one reel and one carousel, I'm going to get more clients out of it. And yes, there could be a million different strategies like that, right? Like again, which GPS are you following? But the problem is, what is she trying to bring awareness to? What does that consistency do for her? Is she just being consistent for the sake of saying I posted twice a day? Or does that consistency building her a brand that becomes recognizable? Is she repeating herself with messages that relate to her ideal audience? Like it goes so much deeper than the like, oh, I'm doing this and this. Why isn't it working? And that's why, like, honestly, the hard part, like distraction is avoiding what's hard. Posting twice a day, it might sound hard to you, but it's really not necessarily hard, especially if you like have access to templates or content or things like that. What's hard is figuring out, okay, what do I want to be known for? How can I repeat that messaging? How can I get deeper into my brand and make it aligned with who I want to be? Who do I want to be known for? What kind of agent I am? How is this going to then get me that like the business I want in a year from now? And we're thinking instead day by day, post by post, that it's harder to think the other way. It's harder to do it the other way. But the other way is the way that gets you results. So like buying a course or joining a membership is easier than implementing the one you already have because you're like, oh, I'm doing something. I'm putting my credit card in. This must do something for me, right? Or like changing your branding up is easier than being consistent with what you already have and just going deeper into it. And like, we interviewed Brianne last week on the podcast and her branding is so clear. Like that's harder than changing it every time you see a new idea. That's harder. It's easier once you get going, but it's harder to commit to, right? But when you avoid the hard things, you're literally directly avoiding the growth because you're too uncomfortable to sit long enough in it to let something change, to let something build. It's not even your fault. It's really not your fault. That Mountain is You book says distraction isn't random, it's protective. Our
Yeah.
brains want what feels safe and familiar. And it's easy to busy ourselves with things that don't really matter. That's why we tinker. That's why we waste time. That's why we spend time scrolling. And we confuse that like whether it's like familiarity or it feels productive because I'm on Instagram or I'm saving ideas or I'm like implementing this trend. It feels safe because it's like familiar and it's just what's there and in front of you. And doing something where you're like, okay, I'm going to step out of this. I'm going to stay in my lane. That feels hard because it's different.
Yeah.
That feels hard because you're not just like letting yourself be pulled into the current, right? Like you're carving your own path. And that's the way. We're not even giving you a strategy today. We're not giving you any strategy. Oh,
Mm-mm.
say it all ties back to personal brand. Obviously, we'll never stop talking about that. But we're not telling you any strategy. We just want your mindset to get in the right place to be able to stay in the path long
Yeah.
enough to get the results you really want, to truly upgrade the agent you are, the business you're building. Even if you decide, I'm not going to be an agent, I'm going to do this thing over here, go all in, build the path, carve your tracks deep enough that you don't veer off course, right?
Yeah. So, really, this whole episode and what the series is going to be all about is like really clearing the noise, getting super crystal clear the direction that you're going, and getting there faster and, frankly, with more ease. That is what the next 5 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it's going to be, is going to be all about. So, as you are working through some of these things that we've talked about today, whether it's defining what wealth really means to you, really defining your bottom line and identifying the things that you might need to eliminate. Maybe there's accounts you need to unfollow that, even if they're really good, maybe they just make you feel less than all the time. Unfollow them. Like, you don't need that narrative living in your head. Maybe there's like a punch list of things that you do every single week that you're looking back now and you're like, you know what? I think that's more busy work than like needle moving work. Maybe it's time to eliminate that. And as you're doing that, it might feel a little bit scary because you might feel like, I know that I'm not happy with where I'm at now, but I don't know what it's going to be like where I'm going, kind of like what Chelsea is talking about. Like, it's that like familiar hell versus an unfamiliar heaven. Like, we have to be willing to bet on ourselves and to bet on our business so that we can actually get to where we want to go. And sometimes that'll mean eliminating things along the way. It might mean eliminating an event that you throw every single year that you're like, you know what? Looking back, I don't think I've ever gotten leads from this, or I don't think this has ever like actually moved the needle in my business. I think actually people just come because they want free stuff. Like, talk about being honest with ourselves, right? And again, there's plenty of events that you can throw that really draw in your community, right? But a lot of us we're doing things that aren't connected to our personal brands, that don't connect us with our people, and that don't keep us top of mind. The only way that we can move forward and really have that like wealthy agent mindset and like really upgrade our lives this year is to start eliminating some of those things.
If you were on this podcast and we were interviewing you right now and you had no choice but to say one thing you were going to eliminate, write that down on a sticky note, and that is the thing you need to eliminate. Just pick one thing. And really what we want you to do is decide, what business do I want 1 year from now? I won't even make you think big like 5 years. Just 1 year from now, what business do you want? Don't play small. If you answered in your head, double it. And then I want you to eliminate everything that doesn't support that.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be taking cold leads a year from now, if you don't want to be doing random things all the time that you're hoping this one is the magic answer, it's not. It's not. Consistency in focus in one lane is going to be the magic answer.
Yeah.
Even if, I will say, even if you decide that's door knocking. I don't want your life, but it will work if that's the one thing you decide to focus on and get better at and perfect and practice and know what you're going to say and know what you're going to deliver and give them and all the things, right? You're going to get better. That is why you need to pick. And I'm not saying you can only do Instagram or you can only, I just mean like we need to stop with the randomness, stop with the distractions, stop with the busyness, the tinkering, the worrying about things that do not matter at all at the end of the day. Decide the business you want 1 year from now. Double that answer and then eliminate everything that doesn't support it.
Yeah.
I hope that fires you up because it fires me up.
Yeah, I'm fired up. And I will just say, just to wrap this up, like, if you are still listening to us at 55 minutes in, then there's a decent chance that the way that Chelsea and I talk about marketing your business and building your business aligns with you and your desires for your life. I want to encourage you to do two things. First of all, I want you to listen to the next several episodes because we are going to dive way deeper into all of these things and give you like so many practical action steps you can take to really upgrade your wealthy mindset. The other thing that I really want you to do is to send this to a real estate friend, not because we want more downloads, but because this is so much easier to do if you are not doing it alone. There's so much value in having a little bit of accountability and having someone just to talk things out with. And gosh, think about this. Think about if for the next like 5 to 6 weeks, if you and a friend both said, we are going to meet for lunch every Wednesday afternoon and we're going to discuss what happened on the podcast and like adjust things in our business according. I'm sorry, you are going to be light years ahead from where you are right now. And in 3 months, 4 months, you are going to be, and your business are going to be completely unrecognizable. We've got a lot of really
I
good
just
stuff
got
coming
chills.
up. It's true.
Watch
It
the
is
marketing
true.
girl masterminds explode.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Consider the next couple of weeks a mastermind. This is what this is all about. So love that you're still listening. Would love for you to really take this seriously, bet on yourself, tune in and make this happen for yourself because you are the only one who can do it. We can't do it for you. You have to be the one going out to bat for yourself.
And if you do, send this to a friend, and they don't even have to be local. Send it to a friend and do a Zoom call, lunch, or happy hour. Tag us on Instagram. We want to see these little mini marketing girl accountability masterminds, whatever you want to call them. And I just know it's going to make such a huge difference for you if you do that. Because even if you think about like when you're in a small group with other people, you get more ideas, you get more execution, you get collaboration, community. Like nothing bad comes from a small group or from accountability with another person wanting the same things you want, right?
Yeah.
It's like quote I mentioned earlier, when you put yourself in that environment, it's so much easier. So yes, have fun. I can't wait. I love that. I was like, what is she going to say? I didn't know what you were going to say at the end there.
Sometimes I surprise myself, not going to lie. Yeah. That's awesome. This has been so good. We cannot wait to talk to you again next week.
Bye, marketing girls. We will see you next Tuesday.
Bye.
I'm so glad we got to hang out today. If you're as sad as I am that our time is up, I've got good news. There are a couple of different ways we can keep the conversation going.
First, follow us on Instagram at Modern Agent Marketing Girls and introduce yourself in the DMs. Also, we always have a free Modern Agent resource available, so check out today's show notes for the goods.
And finally, hang out with other go-to real estate girls like you and finally create a marketing plan that works when you join Modern Agent Social Club. All the details are in today's notes.
XOXO, the Marketing Girls.